Hello, this video is going to cover a simplifying expressions review. There's only 3 examples here, but they're going to be really similar to the one on your assignment, and it'll review the basics of simplifying expressions that do not contain any parentheses. So one of the first things I suggest you do when you're going to simplify an expression is rewrite subtraction as addition or add the opposite. So any place where I see subtraction, I'm going to rewrite it as addition. For example, when I see some subtraction right here as minus 2x, I'm going to start by rewriting that as plus a negative 2x. So everything else stays the same. I've got negative 6x plus 8y minus 2x becomes plus negative 2x. We're going to add the opposite, change subtraction to addition, positive 2x becomes negative 2x, and then plus 4y is going to stay the same. The next thing that I suggest you do is you take your like terms and you put them side by side. And like terms are those terms that contain the same variable or variables. So negative 6x and negative 2x are like terms. And I'm allowed to move them now that everything's addition. So I'm going to move those terms so they're side by side. And my other pair of like terms is the 8y and the 4y. One of the reasons why we rewrite subtraction as addition is so that we can move these terms around and we won't miss or are less likely to miss any of our negatives. So I'm going to rewrite this as negative 6x plus negative 2x plus 8y plus 4y. Now the y's can go in the front or the x's can go in the front, but we want our x's side by side and we want our y's side by side. So these two terms right here highlighted in green are like terms. These two terms highlighted in blue are like terms. And now what we can do is either do some mental math or we can use our calculator. We're going to do negative 6 plus negative 2. We're going to add those coefficients, which are the numbers in front of x. Negative 6 plus negative 2 is negative 8. I'm going to add 8 plus 4, the coefficients of the y's, to get 12. And my final solution is negative 8x plus 12y. I can also write this as 12y plus negative 8x or 12y minus 8x. So there are some other ways to write it that mean the exact same thing. Let's take a look at number 2. There's something a little different here with the variable a being by itself. But the first thing I'm going to do is where I see subtraction, which is here and here, highlighted in yellow, I'm going to rewrite as addition. So this becomes 7a plus 5b minus 8b becomes plus a negative 8b, and minus a becomes plus a negative a, and I wrote that as a negative 1a since the coefficient of a is 1, and that's plus a negative 1a. Now I'm going to put my like terms side by side. So that's going to be 7a and negative 1a, since they both contain a's, 5b and negative 8b. So I'm just going to reorder the expression. This is something that as you advance, you probably aren't going to need to do. And as you get really advanced, you may not even need to show any work at all. You might be able to come up with the solution just by looking at the expression. But for right now, I'm going to have 7a plus negative 1a and 5b plus negative 8b. 7 plus negative 1 is going to get us 6a, and 5 plus negative 8 is going to get us negative 3b. And I can write that solution as 6a plus negative 3b or 6a minus 3b. Like your practice sheet, I did mix in some decimals for number 3, but we're going to treat this exactly the same. This is where it might be helpful to have a calculator on hand. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite subtraction as addition. This is something, by the way, that as you advance you might not have to do, but it's something I even have algebra students do at first. They may be able to get away without having to show it or do it eventually, but at first we always rewrite subtraction as addition. So this will become 7.8c plus negative 1.5d plus 3.1c plus negative 2.9d plus negative 5.1c. Now let's identify our like terms. We've got 7.8c, my highlighter extended there, I didn't want that, 7.8c, 3.1c, and negative 5.1c. And we have negative 1.5d and negative 2.9d. So in my calculator, what I'm going to do once I reorder these, and you'll notice that I put all the green terms side by side. So that's all of these. and all my blue terms side by side, I'm going to be plugging these coefficients into the calculator. And I'm going to do that right now, even though I know my answer is right below that gray box. I'm going to do 7.8 plus 3.1 plus negative 5.1. Remember, your calculator is only as smart as you are, so if you don't plug in the numbers right, your calculator is not going to give you the correct solution. It'll give you the correct solution for what you type in, but that may not be what you mean. So 7.8 plus 3.1 plus negative 5.1, and that's going to give us 5.8c. And in my calculator, I'm going to plug in negative 1.5 plus negative 2.9. I do want to stress, make sure you're using the negative key for a negative number versus the subtraction key. That will likely give you a different solution. So negative 1.5 plus negative 2.9 is negative 4.4. So my final solution is 5.8c plus negative 4.4d, or I can write that as 5.8c minus 4.4d. Thanks for listening.